Welcome to Citizen Minutes, hosted by OHASTA and SENC. My name is Vanessa Cadell. I'm the technical support member for OHASTA, and I'm going to turn everything over to our members, Alexis Walker and Megan Cameron.
Thank you, Vanessa. Before we get started with our introductions, we just want to remind everybody how Zoom works. I'm sure many of you are very familiar at this point with Zoom. However, based on the different platforms that many of us use within our workplaces, we just want to remind you that for Zoom, if you had to unmute, so we will be doing some breakout sessions, and we'd love for you to engage in those via the mute button there. So just at the bottom of your screen, you'll see beside the video, you can mute yourself. You're welcome to turn on or off your video. That's up to you. And then, of course, you can post any questions in the chat. Please do be aware that the questions that you're posting today will be viewed by everyone, unless, of course, you choose to send it only to a specific person, including our host today as well. So just do be aware of that. It comes out live. Alrighty, we're going to do our land acknowledgement next. So we'll start with a general land acknowledgement to ensure that all territories are covered. And then Megan and myself will do our own land acknowledgements. So we acknowledge that we are gathered in the territories of various Indigenous peoples, and we further recognize their stewardship of these lands in which we live, learn, work, and play. And Anibo Jo, Alexis Indigenous Cause, Wipyashu and Donjaba. I am a part of the Williams Treaty, and I'm coming to you from my home in Whitby, Ontario. In my role as an educator with the Durham District School Board, I strive to move out of the way and make room for voices that the colonial system has tried to silence for far too long. I am thrilled that some of those voices resonate in the resources you'll be exposed to today.
And my name is Megan Cameron, and I'm a teacher with Grand Erie District School Board. And I acknowledge that the communities in which I work and live are located on and in the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee and the Anishinaabeg. This territory is covered by the Upper Canada Treaties and directly adjacent to Haldeman Treaty territory.
Megan. All right, a little bit about who we are as OHASTA and as an organization. So OHASTA is the Ontario History and Social Science Teachers Association. We are a volunteer organization of practicing history and social science teachers in Ontario's elementary and secondary schools. We have been serving our members since 1978. We would like to thank the Ontario Teachers Federation for the use of their Zoom platform today to help us stay connected in a good way. All right, and we'll just go over a bit of how the program today is going to run. So as indicated, we are going to have some time at the end after our films to do some breakout sessions. But first, we're going to introduce some key players in today's webinar. And then we will have the opportunity of watching 3 fantastic films. They're really engaging, and we know you're going to love them, and you're going to be really excited to use them in your classrooms or in the workplace where you find yourself. And again, we're going to break out into smaller groups and hopefully share some best practices and how you could see yourself using these films and others in your workplace. And then we will wrap up, of course, at the end. And also at the end and throughout, Elspeth will be posting a document as to where you can find this information. And Leslie, again, at the end, will remind us too how we can get the details for today's films and resources and supports. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Leslie Sparks. Wait for the write-up to come up. So Leslie began her career in education with the creation of Kodak Canada National School. Sorry, it's being cut out on that screen in front of me, so I got to open up, my own programs. In the 2000s, she was a photo instructor catalyst in an alternative high school in the TDSB, and also organized the annual WordPress photo exhibition and its education program in Toronto. Leslie has created and organized major teacher conferences, lectures, exhibitions, and events focusing on both stills and documentary film. Her professional goal has always been to showcase the power of stills and films that can play in the learning process. These visual mediums offer relevant and accessible entry points to open and engage young minds to otherwise dry and distant subjects, or enhance already dynamic subjects. Since 2010, she has managed and directed the Hot Docs for Schools program, creating and curating documentary film programs to complement curriculum for elementary and secondary teachers. Thank you so much, Leslie, for being here with us today and for sharing these fantastic resources. Leslie, were you hoping to say a little something?
Well, yeah, no, I'm sorry.
Perfect,
I
that's
my,
okay.
my picture come up. Anyhow, thank you very much. And thank you to AHASTA for organizing this, and to Jackie, our impact producer on this, everybody's doing an amazing job. I'm sure many of you are familiar with this program, the Citizen Minutes, but we're going to go into much more detail, and I think we'll find quite helpful. But I'm here just to give a little overview of what Docs for Schools is. So we are under the umbrella of the Hot Docs Film Festival, Canadian Documentary Film Festival in Toronto. And our focus is purely education, to find content that will complement your role in the classroom. And through this, we have a number of different programs. And I'll top it off by saying everything we offer is free. So I'll just briefly say we have our Citizens Minutes, and we're going to learn more about that. And we're going to be around if you have any questions for me at the end. But we also have another in-school program happening right now called Intersections. And it is available. My colleague Elspeth has posted a series of links in a Google Doc. And I encourage you to take a screen grab or print it, and just use it as your reference for all the programs we offer throughout the year. So as I mentioned, at the moment, we have our intersection program that runs through to May 11th. We have a special event happening for International Women's Day, which we're doing on an annual basis now, and we're showing the film LFG, which might not apply here, but it's about the challenges of the women's U.S. women's soccer team to find wage parity with the men. So it resonates in Canada quite nicely as well. We'll also have coming up in the spring what we call our Hot Docs Festival program, and that's a series of both in-school and online cinema films from the actual Hot Docs Festival. So really new and relevant content. And with each program we offer, we also give you free education packages, which again, they're not A, B, C, D in terms of everything to do with the film, but they start the conversation though, that you can pull out from previewing to viewing to post-viewing. You can pull out quotes, you can pull out resources. Some packages will have a few other components with it as well. So it's a very, very accessible and it will start on any grade level and any subject that you want to bring it into beyond the social sciences. And then that's what we have coming up for this year, for the rest of this year. I'm going to just leave one thing till the very end, but we have at the beginning of the year, we do a big program called Focus, which is on a theme, and it's available to again for in-school programming. And we do a program on human rights, which working with Human Rights Watch, again, an in-school component. And then we also work with, I think, an organization many of you know and love, which is Downey and Wedjack Fund. And we partner with them on the Secret Path Week, which we're very, very happy to be doing every year. So those are the programs throughout the year that we offer. It's in the chat, have a look. But I just want to end on one thing, and it's our teacher conference. We do a free teacher conference each year. It's an online conference, of course, this year because of COVID, and it's on gender diversity and inclusivity. If you'd like to take a look at it, it's completely free. It's a full day. We know supply teaching on February 25th, a Friday, can be a challenge. So we're looking at potentially getting access to make all the links that were part of this program available for the following week. So if this is something of interest to you, please go to it, make your booking. And if you can't do it on that day, if you want to touch base with me the next week, my email's on there. Just let us know and we'll send you out the links if they are available. So that's a very, very brief, quick overview of Doctor Schools. And I'm now going to pass this back to Alexis and Megan for, I know what's going to be a great and informative session on Citizen Minutes. And again, any questions in the chat, and maybe we'll see you at the end. So thank you all very much for taking time in the evening to join us.
Shima, Gwetch, Leslie, thank you so much. I can see, yes, people are typing in the chat there that we need permission for the survey. So that will get fixed, and we'll let you know when that has been fixed. But yeah, I can see that at my end as well.
I just made a copy that's not created in Vanessa's school board, so that we can, it should just work.
Yeah,
so.
Perfect. Okay, so yes, thank you so much, Rachel. The link that was just shared, and unfortunately, definitely when we have permissions within our different school boards of who can and cannot access things. So that can provide some barriers at times, but thank you so much, Rachel, that works. So if we could access that form again and fill that in, that would be awesome. Excluded by design. Before I do, I read the little summary there about this film. It is an awesome film. It is extremely engaging and catchy, and the documentary producers who put this together were bang on with what they hope is done, with the advertising from municipalities and things about rezoning. They've done an excellent job in making their actual documentary the catchy and the attention grabbing that they desire within the municipalities as well. So I do hope you enjoy this one. And the write-up is writer and community organizer Dave Muslin thinks that bad public notices are hurting our democracy, and he's calling on graphic designers to show us what we are missing. And while that film is getting set up, I'll also let you know that within the teacher package for this one, there's an incredible TED Talk as well that I would encourage you to check out too. All right, enjoy.
There's no sound being shared, Vanessa.
If there is a problem with any of the links, this is Leslie, in the package that Elizabeth posted, it's good for till the end of the day, I believe, Elizabeth, the link and the password. So if there's any problems watching it, you can quickly go to that and just view it around the same time.
Vanessa, is there an option to share?
Invited to a birthday party, but this was the invitation. Not very appealing, right? Well, this is a public notice. It's also an invitation. What's it about? This is the problem. Because governments put these out to let you know that something important is planned for your neighborhood. And you have the opportunity to share your thoughts on it. But you even notice them?
Public notices and the way they're designed are a visual reminder of how government feels about it.
This is Dave. He wrote this book. Dave hates how public notices look.
Should I froth? Oh, God, I hate public notices.
He hates them so much, he even did a TED Talk.
Imagine if Nike wanted to sell a pair of shoes
and put an ad in the paper like that.
Public notices today kind of make my blood boil because they send me a message that government doesn't care about me or my voice or my opinion.
Turns out that designers have opinions about this too.
Alors, il y a personne qui va lire ça, évidemment.
There isn't an entry point.
Il y a trop de texte, c'est trop petit.
What do you do after you've read it?
I don't know.
Well, let's see what real designers can come up with.
At the most basic level, there's 4 things we should expect from any type of communication. Number 1, it should look pretty, so we even notice it in the first place, right? It has to catch your attention. Number 2, it has to highlight the most important information. What's this about? Why should I care? Number 3, it should highlight the points of engagement. Is there a survey? Is there a meeting? What am I supposed to do here? And number 4, probably most importantly, it's the call to action. Just like a billboard doesn't just say, we have a new car. It's like, buy our car. The government notice should say, you know, your voice matters. We want to hear from you. This is your chance to make a difference.
As a designer, I want to make sure that when you say public notice, it's actually public, something that anyone from any walk of life can understand and engage with.
Je pense que le succès d'une bonne affiche serait que ça démontre que la ville veut que tu sois engagé. La ville prend au sérieux son citoyen. Je pense que petit à petit, il y aurait plus d'engagement.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't think that the bureaucracy sits down and says, okay, let's use language no one's going to understand. Let's not add color because people might notice it. It's a passive negligence. They're not actively trying to exclude us, but by not making the effort, it ends up being exclusion by design. I think some people would laugh and be like, really, Dave, we're talking about public notices. Let's not overreact. We're not talking about public notices. We're talking about whether or not ordinary people know how to participate, want to participate, and are having their voices heard.
And that's what this is all about. If governments actually care about our voice, shouldn't they at least be meeting us halfway? Because right now, a bad invitation is as good as none at all.
I love how they do those credits at the end. That's so smart. So that again is excluded by design. And again, it's focusing on public notices set out by, the different levels of government of the change and transition in communities. And I'm sure every one of us have seen one of those either in the newspaper or on the side of a building, and how they just are not engaging. So, we're looking to our students and the community to engage, but then our government isn't opening up that door. It's a good documentary to remind us that a shift needs to happen. The next one we're going to take a look at is called Nuvier Le Rife. And in this one is also an incredible documentary. It's extremely empathetic. It's very real and powerful. And in 2007, the Centre La Salière opened their doors in Saint-Michel, one of the most disadvantaged boroughs on the island of Montreal. Meet Paul Evra, the young altruistic director who grew up there and is leading the center and their mission to help feed the numerous families in the area who are food insecure.
Quand je suis arrivé au centre Lassalien, la première chose que j'ai faite, c'est que j'ai créé une boîte à rêves. J'ai demandé aux jeunes de venir écrire les rêves qu'ils avaient pour le quartier, qu'ils avaient pour le centre Lassalien. Je m'attendais à avoir des trucs comme aller à Walt Disney, faire venir une célébrité, des trucs vraiment wow. Quand le comité m'a rencontré pour me dire c'était quoi le rêve des jeunes, plus de la moitié des réponses était de pouvoir manger un repas supplémentaire. Et de savoir qu'un jeune, que je lui demande de rêver et son rêve c'est de manger, c'est venu orienter et changer notre façon de faire. Le Centre Saint-Michel, c'est un centre socio-éducatif qui vient en aide aux personnes défavorisées, principalement les jeunes. Donc, nous, on vient donner un coup de main aux écoles avoisinantes pour venir donner un support tant social qu'académique aux familles. L'élément clé qui fait que j'occupe le poste que j'occupe aujourd'hui, je dirais que c'est peut-être le fait que j'ai fréquenté toute ma vie des gens du quartier Saint-Michel. J'ai vu des amis prendre des mauvais chemins. J'ai perdu des amis pour des mauvaises raisons. Et je crois que ce désir de pouvoir aider la prochaine génération à pas prendre les mêmes routes que nous, que mes amis, c'est peut-être ce désir-là qui fait que je suis là aujourd'hui, en fait. Le but, il est simple. On ne fera jamais la course pour aucun jeune. La course, elle est à toi. Par contre, ce qu'on peut faire, c'est vous permettre de partir sur la même ligne de départ. Et si quelqu'un n'a pas mangé, c'est sûr que ça va être un peu plus difficile à l'école.
Est-ce que tout le monde a ça? Oui. Donc,
Agir ensemble est parti pendant la pandémie parce qu'on a réalisé que beaucoup de jeunes, le repas important qu'ils prenaient dans la journée, c'était à l'école. Donc, on s'est dit que pendant la pandémie, pendant que l'école était fermée, comment ce jeune-là allait faire pour se nourrir? Donc, on va donner de la nourriture directement dans les familles. C'est une 50aine de familles par semaine. C'est parti pour la crème. Ce jeudi, nous allons faire l'événement Le Temps des sucres. C'est la première fois qu'on va le faire. Pour nous, c'était important, dans un quartier avec autant d'immigration, de venir leur montrer. Et la terre d'accueil, on vous tend encore la main. On va vous donner ce qu'il y a de plus beau au Québec, Le Temps des sucres.
La tablée des chefs nous fournit des plats à chacun de nos événements. Donc, on a 2 repas familiales qu'on va livrer aux gens demain. Un kit de pudding chômeur pour qu'ils puissent cuisiner pendant les vacances avec leurs enfants. Puis aussi, on donne, comme d'habitude, un gros panier d'épicerie de denrées non périssables.
Merci. Vous êtes prêts?
Ça va, ça va. Yes, pas chaud.
Sans famille, Le Temps des sucres aujourd'hui.
Sans famille?
Sans famille.
On n'arrête jamais?
Jamais, jamais, jamais.
Parfait.
Ma question, est-ce qu'on fait les sans famille à 2? Oui, je suis prêt. Il y a d'autres monde qui s'en vient, parfait.
Tu sais, quand tu réalises qu'un enfant sur 3 ne mange pas 3 repas par jour ici à Saint-Michel, de savoir qu'on peut juste les aider, puis en plus, on le fait pour notre communauté, c'est encore plus gratifiant.
On veut être ce genre d'exemple pour les jeunes ou les plus jeunes pour dire « Yo, c'est nice qu'est-ce que tu fais, mais oublie jamais d'où tu viens, tu sais. Donc, non, pour moi, c'est une priorité. Andy m'a dit qu'on venait, c'était 100 dans l'horaire. Je vais retourner travailler après, puis c'est tout.
C'est plus qu'essentiel. Mon père est haïtien. C'est comme si je suis à la maison à Saint-Michel. Même si j'ai pas grandi à Saint-Michel, c'est comme si on va livrer à ma tante, mon oncle, mon grand-père, ma grand-mère. Parce que quand mon père est arrivé ici, il y a 35 ans, ben, il n'y avait rien.
Regardez, on a une petite activité de semaine de relâche pour vous. Et si c'est tout ce que vous avez besoin pour faire un pudding chômeur. Est-ce que vous savez c'est quoi un pudding chômeur?
Ouais, j'ai déjà vu ça.
Ouais? Est-ce que tu en as déjà mangé?
Non.
Ben, regarde, tu as la recette ici. OK, tu as juste à suivre la recette. Ça va vous faire une belle activité d'après-midi. C'est bon, ça? All right.
Merci.
Faites attention à vous, soyez prudents, puis mettez vos masques.
À chaque fois qu'on les voit, parce qu'on les voit toutes les semaines, on devient amis avec eux. Tu sais, ils nous reconnaissent, on leur parle comment va ta fille, ci, ça. Puis il y a une famille, à un moment donné, on amène un sac de patates, puis là, elle nous dit « Oh, moi j'aime les patates! » OK, ben, faut vous en donner un deuxième. Puis là, elle nous regarde et elle dit ben, vous savez quoi, je vais vous faire un pâté chinois avec ça. Là, les gars. Quoi? On leur amène de la bouffe pour eux qui est vitale, qui est essentielle, puis eux veulent redonner. C'est là que tu vois l'esprit de communauté, l'esprit de fraternité qui est ici à Saint-Michel. C'est complètement fou. Puis le pâté chinois était super bon, on l'a mangé la semaine d'après. Elle avait livré le pâté chinois.
Quelle adresse, toi, là? 53, hein? Ouais, 88, 53. OK. Je suis tellement fier de venir de ce quartier que je dis souvent, hey, j'ai la chance de venir du quartier Saint-Michel. Pourquoi? Parce que dans Saint-Michel, on parle plus de 120 langues. Moi, je voyage. À chaque coin de rue, je peux visiter un pays. Quand je parle du quartier Saint-Michel, c'est sûr que les gens vont nous parler de la pauvreté économique, vont nous parler de la sécurité alimentaire. Mais il faut aussi parler de ça, de cette jeunesse. C'est un des quartiers les plus jeunes au Canada. Ce qui veut dire qu'on peut faire une différence pour l'avenir, parce qu'il faut travailler sur les jeunes. Mon objectif final, un peu comme le centre, c'est qu'on n'ait plus besoin de nous, en fait. Un jour, je rêve que Agir ensemble ne serve plus à rien, parce que tout le monde, tous les enfants, toutes les familles auront 3 repas par jour. Et leur permettre de rêver. Dans Saint-Michel, les jeunes ont le droit de rêver.
And at this point, I'll leave it to Megan, to do the rest.
Thank you. So this last documentary is not really your, I don't know how to say it, like traditional documentary. It's a story, but it's the story that addresses so many issues in very subtle ways. Like you can go really deep with this particular story, or you can just skim it at the surface. You can look at it through all these different lenses. And I love the fact that there's an emphasis on the concept of storytelling as a way of knowledge being passed on. And so it's interesting too, because the filmmaker at the end, it's animated, but at the end, I won't give it away, but you'll see. And she's done this as like an anecdote in her life, but has these resonating sort of lessons that can be learned. And there's so many different connections to it. So it's a lesson in compassion and generosity that results in a lifelong gift. Set in a small northwestern Ontario town, a father takes an opportunity to pass on important teachings to his daughter. So this one, very different. Again, we're dealing with a very rural setting, a fairly remote community with specific issues, and the story is wonderful. So we'll watch that now.
My name is Rachel, and I'm what you call a helper. For most of my life, I have volunteered with or worked for community-based organizations that help people. This is a story about a couple of teachings that were given to me by my father when I was a child, which really inspired my love for giving and being compassionate. It was the late 1970s, and I was a rascally 7-year-old growing up in the small Canadian hamlet of Hudson. One summer's morning, as my father and I walked to the store, I found $1 lying on the side of the road. Back then, you could buy a lot with $1. It didn't take me very long to decide what I was going to buy with it. My father interrupted my daydreaming by asking me to give the $1 away to the first person that I felt that needed it. At first, I thought he had lost his mind. Why on earth would I want to give this $1 away? But because I love my father, I decided to do it reluctantly. But who would I give it to? On another occasion, when my father and I were walking to the store, I had seen a man drinking with a group of people on the steps of a church. I had laughed and pointed at them. I had told my father, "Look at all those drunken bums." My father did not laugh. Instead, he explained to me that they were street people, not bums. They had a hard life and had been through some awful things. My father explained that they were our relatives and old friends. He told me stories about them, and this one man's story touched me in particular. When my father and I got closer to the store, I saw that same man sitting on the steps of the church. His head was hanging low, and he looked sad. I crossed the street, slowly approached him, and extended my arm toward him with my $1 in hand. "Here," I said. The look in his eyes and the creases around his mouth formed the biggest smile. Suddenly, I was overcome with this warm and happy feeling. Wow! That's the day I fell in love with giving. When I became an adult and had my own children, I found ways to pass on these teachings to them. I hope that one day their children will learn these same teachings.
So again, just a very different style of video, but still very impactful. There's so many things to unpack in that video. So I think, Alexis, now we're going to do curriculum connections. Is that right?
I think we're going to probably go into the breakout rooms and share within the breakout room, because I think we're trying to keep to an hour.
Okay.
So that gives individuals an opportunity to engage, and then we can see if we have time for sharing after. Okay. All right, so you should see on your screen an invitation to join a breakout room. We would invite you to, if you're comfortable, and of course in that breakout room, you're welcome to turn your mic on and share, and then you'll give an invitation in the breakout room to come back to the main meet when our time is up to engage.
So everyone should be coming back in shortly. And then we can have Leslie and Megan and Alexis wrap everything up for us.
We're just doing the one breakout. Oh, yeah. Let's see what time it is. Okay.
Yeah. Is everybody?
So Leslie, did you want to speak again about how individuals can access the videos? I think everyone's back at this point, Megan, from the breakout rooms.
I think so, yeah.
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 Okay, yeah. So you can access the link for the Doctor School Citizen Minutes. All the information is in that Google Doc that Elspeth has posted. I don't know, Elspeth, if you want to post that again quickly. I also posted the direct link if you hadn't opened the doc. If you go to it, you'll see a trailer for the film, and then you'll be able to read a little description about each film. And there's a button there that you can press, and that opens up for booking. And Elspeth, if you could just pop in and just explain how the booking works in terms of the period of time that teachers can have.
Yeah, for sure. So when you're on that web page, you'll see a button that says book now. It's just a pretty basic form that you'll fill out with all of your information. And then at the bottom, it asks you to pick a viewing period. Now, the viewing periods are 2 weeks long, and I send you the material a week in advance so that you have time to preview and prepare lessons and stuff, go over the education packages. When I'm sending the material, I'll be sending the link to the film, the password to access the film, and the education package for each of them. So it's rather long email because there are 8 films and 8 packages, but everything that you need is in there. So you have the film for in total, the films for in total 3 weeks. And with Citizen Minutes, because we're offering it throughout the entire school year, if you need to extend your booking, if you don't get to them all the time, or if something comes up, just email me and I can provide you with the next viewing period access information so that you'll be able to use them.
Yeah. And there are additional films, right? That this is the first batch and then there's a second. So I'm teaching careers right now, but I would still be able to use these and access these when I teach civics, but there's also going to be a new set of Citizen Minutes as well, right? Is that correct?
No.
No. So there
Oh.
are 8 films in total.
Okay.
And so we saw 3 of them today, but each booking, you get all 8 films.
Okay. And are we able to share, like as a department head, am I able to share those passwords and links with my department members, or do you want them to do that as individual classroom teachers?
Okay, I'll take that one, Elspeth. One of the things as a nonprofit, this is kind of the underlying of nonprofits. It's all about numbers. So the only thing that we ask is when you book a film, and once you're finished, you just let us know how many students viewed it.
Okay.
That is it. So if you book for your team, your colleagues, we would just need to know the number. But what we find is teachers will take more responsibility if they make their own booking. And then when we follow up, they're more likely to get back to us with those numbers. Those numbers are so important to us. You know, even if you don't show it, just we need to know. And so that is the only thing we ask is that. So it's we prefer individual teachers to make their own booking. But if there's hesitancy for whatever reason, all you need to do is keep track of how many students viewed the films.
Okay. Yeah.
And even, you know what, and even if you book the films and something comes up and it doesn't work time-wise, you can't show it, that's okay. You know, things happen, and these are really short films, but things happen. So we just want you to take a look at them. If you take it and, you know, things go a bit haywire for the next 2 weeks, we're going to have these available throughout the school year, and probably next year, but certainly for this year. So just come back to us. But, you know, when you book it and you don't show it, just let us know. 0, that's all we need. And but we're super easy to work with. Ours is super easy to work with. And you know, we just want this to happen because we think these programs are wonderful access tools to start a conversation or to start an entry point into some area. And honestly, sadly, what's happening now in Ottawa specifically, there's a lot of civics to point to that's live, and we can see it in the news. And that's these films are often bridges to that.
Alexis.
Yeah, thank you. Can I just ask if, as far as participants go today, do we have any French teachers out there? Any immersion-based teachers or French first language teachers out there? Leslie, I know obviously Nuvier Le Rife is a documentary available en français. Are there any of the other 8?
Yes, they're all bilingual. Sorry, they're all have French captions or in English captions, and we have French education packages for the series as well.
Perfect.
So
Okay.
this is purely bilingual.
Thanks for asking that question,
Awesome.
Alexis. I know some of the people that had registered but aren't here tonight do teach in French immersion context, so that'll be helpful when they get the recording.
Yeah, just based on the question too about sharing with colleagues, I know a lot of us do like teaching in buildings where there's those French programs running. So yeah, it's good to know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just wanted to emphasize that these education packages are amazing. They are amazing because it's not prescribed thou shalt. It really gives you the flexibility as a teacher to recognize the needs of your students. Like I have a group of grade 10 applied history, whatever right now, fairly weak, but they would love these because it would get them thinking about it. But I could also use the same video with a senior social science class at university level, where we could actually start like seminar discussions about that. That's how well supported these are. So these education packages are really, really worth their weight because there's all sorts of great prompts in here. The part that I love the most is the part with the quotes, the specific quotes from the documentary, where you can really, dive deeply into some of the issues that are there. And then some of these culminating activities, you could actually switch them back and forth between them. So I wanted to emphasize that in case people were unsure of what they look like. They really are spectacular, and they are very, very teacher friendly because they give you the flexibility to do what you want with the particular video. So I just wanted to add that before we do our closing remarks.
They are, our packages are written by educators in the classroom today. So
yeah,
so there's a lot. They're very similar, just content changes.
Does anybody have any questions for any of our guests tonight, or any from us here? No? Okay. So Leslie and Elspeth, I would like to really, really thank you. You've shared with us an amazing resource that makes our job in a very media-rich society a lot easier, because video is sort of the way of TikTok and everything else like that. And I think these stories are spectacular. And those are just 3 of the 8. So I wanted to thank you very much for taking so much time to support public education and education in general by doing this project. Like, we often think of these films as these fluff pieces in our classrooms, but these can be actually integrated as really important parts of our courses, because it's literally people, grassroots, doing what they need to do to make society better, which is the whole point of citizenship education. And I really, really thank you for your dedication to this and for all of the materials. Yeah. And for Vanessa's been working behind the scenes. She's the one that's kind of set this whole thing up, and she's been running the slideshow. And I need to thank Alexis for saving me because of my lack of French. And Rachel, did you want to say something on behalf of SENC to wrap up?
I'd just like to say shout out to Leah Judd, who's here from BC. tonight and is one of our SENC representatives from BC. So thanks for coming in a little bit earlier in your day and later in our day tonight to kind of check this out and see how we're doing. But also, yeah, we do OHASTA as part of the Social Studies Educators Network of Canada, which is, teachers kind of getting together across Canada to talk about social studies in lots of ways. And so we're really excited that this is part of that network and part of our monthly engagements with SENC.
And we do have upcoming webinars. So again, you can go onto our OHASTA website, and this is the first of our winter, and it's a wonderful way to kick everything off. So thank you everyone for taking an hour out of your night on a Wednesday at the beginning of semester 2 to do this. It's really great to have everybody sort of involved. Alexis, did you want to say anything, or Rachel to finish off?
No, just what a great way to engage. I think, yeah, what a positive engagement. And I know you've indicated, take time on our Wednesday nights as our semester starts, but I loved the positivity, loved the docs, and I just think this is a fantastic way to come together in a good way.
Yeah. And I'm also really appreciating all the comments and sharing that's happening in the chat that we're not hearing, but just all the great ideas are flowing tonight, which is lovely.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you very much. And it's 7:57, so I think we can log off now unless anybody wants to continue a discussion. So
Leslie, are you hoping to hear some feedback from some of the educators here today and individuals here today on how they might use the resources? I know if individuals have to go, that's okay. We have, kept you here for an hour, but I don't know, Leslie, if you were hoping to hear a little bit back